Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone, is a recut version of The Godfather Part III, which Coppola originally directed and released back in 1990. In his new cut, Coppola has changed the beginning, the ending, and has made some other adjustments in order to make the final product more in line with his original vision for the project, which back in 1990 featured heavy interference from the studio Paramount Pictures. I already made a video on Diane Keaton's opinion of the new cut, who is in all three Godfather films and who said it was a dream come true for her. And now we also have the thoughts of Al Pacino, the main star of the Godfather franchise, who of course played the head of the Corleone crime family, Michael Corleone. Al Pacino, Diane Keaton and Francis Ford Coppola all saw the new cut together at a screening room at Paramount Pictures, along with Andy Garcia and George Hamilton, who starred in the third film. The film wasn't bad, but Pacino had expressed disappointment in the third movie when it came out, saying that he did not agree with the portrayal of Michael Corleone, feeling that Michael would not have shown remorse or regret for his crimes. So, what does he feel about the new version? Well, speaking to Deadline, Pacino said, "Francis changed the opening scene, which is now about Michael getting in business with that Archbishop in the Vatican. It had never started there. That scene was 35 to 40 minutes into the film, and I think people got lost before by a muddled trajectory. Now for some reason, there is a better sense of focus. Film is like magic, and it constantly surprises me how people who understand it can cut out a close-up or trim a scene and make such a difference. When he showed it to us, I saw that opening and breathed a sigh of relief because I knew it was better. The trajectory was always there. From that scene in The Godfather, when Michael says, 'It's my family, Kay, it's not me.' And then this smart college grad war hero gets caught up in the rush after his father was threatened, and he has to live with something he couldn't find a way out of. In The Godfather III, he's a guy trying to keep everything going. He had a natural ability for business and manipulation and a Machiavellian gift that made him the boss of the crime family, even though I never felt he was comfortable being a stereotypical gangster. Now came an opportunity for redemption from the church, as well as this new outlet for his skills that would give his family the respectability he wanted. And then he's constantly thwarted, even in the confession he makes about killing his brother Fredo to that priest who's soon to become pope. Soon he suffers a diabetic attack brought on by the stress of having been screwed by the so-called church in a massive betrayal of inordinate size. And then to lose his daughter, which Francis smartly set at the opera. Godfather II has tragic undertones, but of all the ways to lose your daughter, to do it in the arena of assassinations that he was a part of, then to lose his daughter because of him, it's operatic, and he's completely broken. According to Deadline, Pacino was pleased when Coppola told him that Paramount had agreed to create a new cut of The Godfather Part III. Pacino feels the movie benefits from having time in the editing room to find the best version of the film, as quite infamously, Paramount Pictures originally rushed the release of The Godfather III so that it could make it for a Christmas release. Pacino himself even had lunch with Paramount head Frank Mancuso, where he asked for a postponement in the film's release date so that Francis would have more time to work on the film in the editing room, but Paramount refused. Pacino chooses not to compare the much mangled third film with the classic first two, both considered amongst the finest films ever made. Instead, interestingly, he chooses to compare it to Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, released in 2019 and being Scorsese's first and only collaboration with Al Pacino. The Irishman was a gangster film made in the same vein as his previous classic mob flicks such as Goodfellas and Casino, and starred the usual Scorsese suspects like Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. But instead of having the rock and roll style, high-speed, coked-up energy of his previous gangster pictures, Scorsese's The Irishman was slower and more methodical. It was concerned with older gangsters looking back on their violent lives with regret and remorse, and of course was made many years after Goodfellas and Casino, with the main actors being so much older, so you can see how comparisons to The Godfather III do make sense. Pacino said, "The Irishman had the same people, but looked at them with a different lens, a different story. that worked well for Marty because you weren't comparing it to Goodfellas or Casino. The Godfather, The Death of Michael Corleone is also different and hard to compare to the other two, including the tragic place this leads to. I'm glad Francis had a chance to do this, and I hope it's going to resolve things for Sophia. I love that girl, and at the time it was a big thing. Imagine a teenager being dragged over the coals like that. In her father's film, there wasn't an internet then, but there is now, and I hope they are decent to her and more understanding. I do think the injury to his daughter was a real motivator for Francis. He probably just stared at the painting for a good long time, trying to figure out, and then boom, he found it. For more videos and similar content, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification button. Thanks for watching.